Hello everyone, this is Dakota Clifford with your Central Office Construction team. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. I'm going to be talking about the e-construction program in general and the PlanGrid program specifically. Over the last year, we've rolled out PlanGrid to the department's construction programs and have seen its adoption on a wide range of projects. Today, I'm going to be talking about some of the success we've had, lessons we've learned, and highlighting best practices for the use of PlanGrid. Before I do that, more generally, I want to touch base on the e-construction program. As always, our program shares the same priorities as our construction program overall. These include a commitment to time, budget, and quality. Specifically, we look for ways to change not only our technologies, but also our processes, hoping to ultimately make our operations more efficient and more effective. Our goal remains to reduce the administrative burden on our users. Like we've said before, we want to allow our engineers to engineer and our inspectors to inspect. Looking specifically at the PlanGrid program, we've enjoyed a lot of success over the last year as shutdowns accelerated the adoption of e-construction and other technologies across the state. As of May of last year, we had provided initial training to all 9 districts and began to make every project available in PlanGrid. The PlanGrid INIM issued last fall mandated the use of PlanGrid on all projects advertised after October 6th, 2020. Since then, we've seen since the start of the PlanGrid program at least, we've seen approximately 522 projects in PlanGrid to date, with 313 currently active projects in the system. An additional point I'd like to draw attention to is the breakdown of these projects. Almost half of the projects have been schedule projects, with another significant chunk being on-call and no-plan projects. I'll talk more specifically about PlanGrid's application on schedule and on-call projects later, but I just want to highlight the point that PlanGrid is not only a tool for design bid build jobs, that it works on a wide array of projects, including schedule work, on-call jobs, and no-plan projects. Additionally, usage of the platform has been widespread across the state itself. Over the course of the last year, we've seen in excess of 92,000 photos and 40,000 field reports submitted through the PlanGrid system, and we've seen this in every single district and on lots and lots of different projects across the state, as you can see here. We're excited to see how much use we've had in the first year and expect it to increase pretty dramatically this year as we go into our first full construction season using the PlanGrid system. Talk specifically about 2 unique types of contracts. Those were schedule work contracts and on-call contracts. I want to take a look at how we can set those projects up in PlanGrid before we jump into some specific project examples of how those can actually be used on projects and how they've been used so far across the state. When you get an on-call project from Central Office, it's not going to look quite like the one that's on the screen here. Unlike other projects, we don't upload the plan sheets to on-call projects before we send them to you guys, simply because we don't have the plan sheets available to upload yet. Typically, they come out from the design groups as tasks are issued, and so it's the responsibility of the project team to upload plan sheets to the on-call projects within PlanGrid if they elect to. This is an example here of how these can be uploaded though, and I'll highlight some of these best practices on a slide here in a second. But with this project here, there are 3 active tasks, or 3 tasks that have been issued to date on this project. And what we've done here is numbered these specifically with a T1 in front of the sheet number for all of the task order 1 plan sheets. We've done the same thing down here for T2 and then for T3, and that can continue on as you go. To navigate through sheets within a task order, what we recommend is actually using the tags over here. So what I can do is if I want to see only sheets that are associated with task order 3, I select that, and now I'm looking at just task order 3 plan sheets. I can do the same thing for any of the other task orders. I can also pull specifically, if these are tagged correctly, I can pull based on route number here, if those are entered, or specific roads or types of things that I'm looking at on that project. We have seen on-call projects done well in PlanGrid for bridge joint repair task orders, for signage and striping task orders, for substructure repair task orders, and lots of other types of task orders, or on-call projects. So we strongly encourage you guys to use that in here. If you have questions about task orders and how to set these up more specifically, please reach out to us and let us know. We also have resources available on our YouTube site for that. The next thing we're going to take a look at are some schedule work contracts and some examples of how they've been using the PlanGrid tool very effectively. When you guys get a project from Central Office's e-construction group, it's going to come, at least when you get a schedule project, it's going to come set up looking something like this. So a couple of things come with a schedule project here. As you can see, you're going to get the county maps for the counties that are listed on that schedule. You're going to get the cut sheets extracted out of the back of the contract, and those will be included in there as effectively your plan sheets for the contract. And then you'll also get the schedule totals there at the end, and then any extra notes or something in particular that we thought looked valuable out of the contract. If we can recognize that, we'll grab that and add that in there as well. So all of that's there, and as a reminder, you guys can filter through things over here. So if you have multiple counties on a project, you can filter down based on counties, look at them that way. This project only has one, but that's an option for you there. Note that I'm looking at this on a computer right now, but it looks very similar to how it would on an iPad. You actually have a few more features on the iPad than you do on a laptop. So additionally, with the schedule work projects, you're going to get your proposal in the documents folder of your project as well. You won't get the signed contract because the team won't have that available when we do the work to actually set the project up yet, but that can be added by any admin on your project once it's out there. So you guys will get this, and then of course all the specs and standards and things like that as well. Additionally, with schedule work projects, you're going to have a couple of forms that are going to come standard. That's going to be your inspector daily report, of course, your paving checklist, your work zone safety inspection form, and then we're also working on getting a Virginia State Police tracking log made available as well. And for those of you guys that have seen it, the new Collaborate feature that's available on or within our field reports comes standard on all new projects and new forms as well. So be aware of that. All right, now let's take a look at how schedule work projects have been using PlanGrid specifically. I already showed you more generically kind of what projects were set up like within the PlanGrid system. Now I want to highlight some projects that have been doing a really great job with this. So first, this is a project in Fredericksburg here. As you can see, they're using tasks to track a lot of items or a lot of issues that are happening on the project. And using that amongst their inspectors to take good pictures, take notes. They track the issue, they open it up when the issue occurs, and then they close it out when the issue has been resolved. And typically what they're doing with these tasks is they're actually putting those little stamps on the task sheet within the PlanGrid system, and that way they know exactly where it's occurring as well. Another good example here of work with a schedule work project in the Fredericksburg District. They are using the work zone safety checklist very effectively within the tool. So for every day of work, they're filling out one of these work zone safety checklists within PlanGrid. And then they are also using the asphalt paving inspection checklist within the system as well to track what's going on and make sure that they're not missing anything. And both of those forms come standard on all projects, like we mentioned before. This is another good example of schedule work here that you can see. This is a Richmond District project. What they're doing here is they're taking a lot of pictures within the tool, and you can see over there on the left, they're marking up photos within the camera that's native to the iPad itself. So they'll take the picture in an iPad camera, mark it up as they need to, and then import that picture into PlanGrid, and they're referencing it to their report as well. So great use of the tool there. On the right side, you can also see where not only are they marking up those pictures, but they're also stamping those pictures to the cut sheets that are relevant to that picture so that we have a better idea of what it is that we're looking at. Because just a loose picture in the file doesn't necessarily tell us a whole lot, but when you can actually reference that picture to either a report or a cut sheet, it becomes a lot more clear as to what we're looking at. Another great thing that they're doing there is they are taking screenshots. So they're opening up Google Maps of where they're at on that particular day or night of work. They're taking a screenshot of Google Maps and then they're marking it up within the Google Maps. They're highlighting specific routes to mark off what stretch of road was done on a given day. So they'll just screenshot it within Google Maps, highlight across the stretch of road that they were actually working on that evening, and then add that as a stamp with and they'll name the stamp with the date of when they were working on that specific stretch of road. So great use of the tool right there as well. This is another good example from the Richmond District of work that's being done. A couple of things I want to draw your attention to. One is they're again marking up pictures within the PlanGrid tool. and with the iPad cameras. And then another thing that they're doing over on the right side there is making notes on the sheet. So you can see they're marking what was actually used versus what was planned versus what was used. And then down there in the bottom right, they're using task stamps and photo stamps on the cut sheets as well. The last specific project examples that we're going to look at today are some examples of how some teams have been using the PlanGrid system very effectively on some other contract types, including design bid build jobs and on-call contracts. So this is a project in the Hampton Roads district. This is the Denby Boulevard project going right through the middle of the district. A couple of things that I wanted to call attention to here. They're using the tasks tool really well, as you can see over there on the right of this slide, to track environmental issues and to track when issues are observed and then when they're closed out. They're also using their field reports tools very effectively, and as you can see on the left there, they're referencing photos in both their field reports and their forms so that those pictures aren't just loose pictures within the system, but they're actually tied to an inspection report. So great use of the tool there. Another example here, this is from Bristol District. This is a no plan project. And so what they've done with this is as part of the plan sheets, the project team actually took some satellite screenshots and uploaded them into the project. And that's what you can see in the top left there. That's just a satellite photo that they took and added to the project. They've then used that to track specific work as they go about the project. So they're taking pictures and adding them to those the satellite imagery there. And that's what you're seeing on the left side of the screen. On the right side of the screen, what they're also doing is as a way of tracking their quantities and noting out their sketches and things like that for payment purposes, they're using the sketch paper that's a form that comes with all of your projects automatically. And they're uploading, or they're drawing out their sketches in there, embedding pictures within those sketches. And so typically for every field report that they submit, they're also submitting a sketch paper as well. Note that you guys also have sketch paper at the bottom of every individual DWR sheet. So if you would rather just make those sketches there, if that's helpful, you have that option as well. But this is just a great way to document everything that's going on and capture it really effectively within the PlanGrid system. This is another example of great use of the tool here. The specific thing I wanted to highlight here is the use of the C107s on the job. So what they're doing on this job is actually using these signature blocks that come now native to PlanGrid reports. So an individual can sign the signature block within the PlanGrid system in their own handwriting. So all you have to do is use the Apple Pencil or another stylus that you would like, and you can sign within the signature block. You just click into it and a little window pops up allowing you to provide your signature right there. So they're using it to track C107s, and they're using the tasks for that purpose as well, as you can see over there on the left, to track environmental issues across the project. This is another good example here of the use of C107s. Specifically, what I wanted to call out on this one is they are generating, they're taking pictures, generating their C107s, and then exporting all this stuff out to share it with their contractors as a task report. So they're generating their C107s, but then additionally, they are putting tasks on the page, exporting those tasks out as a consolidated tasks report, and then sending that in a PDF format over to their contractor. And it looks just like what you see in the bottom two right images there. That's what the PDFs look like as they're exported out of PlanGrid. As a reminder, if you're struggling with PlanGrid or just would like some extra help, we have a host of e-construction resources available to you. The first thing that I like to point people towards is the e-construction website that has a long list of different resources and materials available on it underneath the tablet-based inspection resources tab. Additionally, we have the e-learning materials available inside VDOT University that we strongly encourage all new users to take, and all users are welcome to take if they need a refresher in how to use the tool. We also have our YouTube channel listed as VDOT eConstruction, and we encourage you guys to like and subscribe the page so that you get updates when we post new videos to the YouTube channel. And then lastly, we have our eConstruction office hours. We offer these every Thursday from 11:15 to noon, and they're just an open, optional session during which users can hop in, ask us questions, and hopefully get them resolved very quickly right there on the call. If you don't have this on your calendar, please shoot an email to econstruction@vdot.virginia.gov and we'll get you added to the invite. As always, thank you guys for everything that you do. We appreciate all of your hard work. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at econstruction@vdot.virginia.gov. Thanks.